Okay. What are we making today, Sam? Spoons. That's what we're making. Spoons. And forged spoons. Morning, Lauren. How are we? Welcome to another wonderful spoon stream. Old man in the house. Mate, like, I'm not that old, jeez. Give me some credit. Morning, Brad. How are we? Alright, so before I fired up the stream, I ground the profiles on the other spoon blanks. Mr. Ben Toombs. Mauricio, hola. ¿Cómo estás? Shalom. Bill, how you going? Yes. I'm not even going to pretend that I can actually speak Spanish. Hey, Wayne. Well as can be expected, my friend. Well as can be expected. Excuse me while I do my mother routine. Camera's dirty. Right. Put an edge on that. Cool. I shall do that. Position you in a way that I can't knock you around too much. G'day, Stephen. Oh, buddy. My back is not happy today. I'm sure none of you know what that feels like. Right, so for those of you who didn't join me yesterday, or the day before, we are working on market stock for a market that I'm doing on Sunday morning. It's a little medieval market thing. And I'm slowly getting my eye back in. So far our efforts have netted us 10 of my town style bottle openers with my maker's mark in them. And 3 spoons, well, almost 3 spoons, 2 large tablespoons and 1 little baby teaspoon. And I want to make, I think, at least 2 more of these. So I've got 1/2 forged out already, and I need to just forge 1 more after I finish this one. I've got 2 hours, or about an hour and a half, before I need to go do school pickup, so we will do our best. G'day, Caitlin, how you going? So yeah, we'll see how far we get. Spoons. I don't like that transition, so I'm going to fix it. Fix it! Wearing my face mask because Caitlin's here. No other reason. Can't let the hall monitor be mad at me. We're good? Yeah, fair enough, Lauren. It does get like that. Hey, Scott. So yeah, spoons today, and maybe a blacksmith's knife if I have the time and energy. Energy is going to be the hard one to come by. There we go. Might be too short for me to make another spoon out of. But that's okay. So another length of this. So. We'll work on straightening that out. Where's me flat bits? Might be a little bit too much material for the spoon head there, but better too much than not enough. Am I right? You don't have to agree with me. I know I'm right. Spork, yeah. Money is nice, yes. Well, I mean, so I've heard from from people who have that kind of stuff. I have heard that it can be nice, yes. Excuse me. Woof. Oof. Man, I ran out of antihistamines, and it is freaking hay fever season at the moment. I need to get to the pharmacist today. Not the pharmacist. If anyone was expecting a cessation of madness from yesterday's stream, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Because hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. Blesseth me. Better bless Jedi me. I don't do that Sith shit around here. Blessed be the cheesemakers. Oh. Yeah, Eric. Is there a line button? I haven't recognized the line button. There is a like button. Don't mind me. I'm just an asshole. Thank you, Eric. Making it pointy. A pointy spoon? Never heard such a thing. It's all good, Eric. Snowing. Ah, snow. At least it's nice and overcast today, in contrast to the last couple of days that we've had. It's practically snowing here. Not really. I wish. Trying to draw down some material, make that heel a little bit more pronounced. Spoon don't have a heel. What are you talking about? Something suspiciously less and less like a teaspoon. It's fine, it's fine. Hey Bryson, long time no see, man. Well, it wouldn't have been a surprise if you, if you'd been here for the other streams, Caitlin. Jeez. Yes, when Caitlin is here, you get safety sound. Somewhat. Sometimes. Somehow. Before anyone starts going, it's cold, it's mild steel. No one cares. All right. Okay, well, that's that spoon blank done. Just gotta wait for it to cool down so that I can grind the profile. But while that's happening, let us throw another piece of iron in the fire. Get on to making another one. Another one. Hey, Keith. Hey, yo, man. Fair enough, Bryson. Protect those ducks. Planishing heat. Yeah. Engines need oil? Since when? Back in my day, all you needed was coal. Coal to feed the boilers. And grease. And when we didn't have motor grease, we'd use animal fat. It's cold and you'll put it your pancreas. What? Who what? Eric, have you been drinking? My pancreas is none of your concern. It's of somewhat concern to my endocrinologist and my GP. Hypothermia does suck, can confirm. Hyperthermia sucks as well. Can also confirm that one. Right. Select your material. Look at this. That'll do. I have no idea where the term real McCoy comes from. That sounds like it sucks, Lauren. I mean, yeah, my question would be the same. Why in the hell did you work it? You some sort of masochist. I mean, at least it would have been work hardened to the point that it was, you know, somewhat springy. I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it. Hey Curtis. Cheers, mate. I'm really glad you're still around, Wayne. Edge packing is bullshit. So, edge packing, edge packing relies on the idea that you can somehow condense steel by hitting it. And the thing is that steel does not change density no matter what you do to it. It is an incompressible material. You can't compress it. That's why when you forge it, it doesn't get smaller, it just moves out to other places. And this isn't me being angry with you, by the way. This is me just being angry at people who completely misunderstand metallurgy on a base level and then start spouting bullshit. And I've had too many arguments with people who say this kind of stuff. But anyway. Yeah. Steel is a solid. And solids, by nature, are incompressible. The only time that something like akin to edge packing actually works is in like non-ferrous forging, like in cold forging of copper or bronze to work harden. Rather than edge pack, it's work harden. There are some cultures that believe that cold forging steel refines grain structure somehow. Namely, you know, the one that comes to mind the most is obviously the Japanese. The Japanese, especially in kitchen knives, do a lot of cold forging. And that could be part of where it all comes from. But realistically, there's no evidence that cold forging refines grain more than normalization does. If you've ever seen a piece of normalized steel and next to a piece that like hasn't been thermocycled, then you're going to see a massive reduction in grain size. And the grain size is what you're looking for in the end anyway. So there is literally no difference between something that's been hit cold and something that's been normalized, except for the fact that the stuff that's been hit cold has had its grain boundaries sheared by friction, by force. And that can cause microfractures and stress fractures and all kinds of other stuff. The thing that I love about especially the Japanese cold forging techniques is that they anneal first, then they cold forge, which work hardens it, but then they normalize it. Because like what they're doing is they're heating it up slowly to get to quenching temperature, is they're basically normalizing it. So then they're completely refuting their own like theory. And I mean, like, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with cold forging. Go for it. If you want to do it, go for it. But it's not actually going to improve the grain structure or anything. It's like the myth that forged blades are somehow better than stock removed ones. We know that's not true. Metallurgically, there is no difference. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the mystery of steel more than anyone. You all should know this by now. I am a steel fanatic. But yeah, don't try and convince me that steel is somehow improved by, you know, smacking it when it's cold. Yeah, exactly, Lauren. We're on the same page. But yeah, like if you're making a bronze sword and you want to have a harder edge than you can have otherwise, like if you cast a bronze sword and then just leave it as cast, it's going to be relatively soft. You want to make it harder, you smack that bugger around when it's cold. And by cold working it, you form work hardness. You actually stress the intermolecular bonds between the molecules, the atoms in the metal. But that's because it is a non-ferrous metal. Ferrous metals, whilst they can work harden, do not work harden to a significant enough degree that it actually improves performance over actual hardening. The only time that like something akin to edge packing was ever relevant was in the early Iron Age. In the early Iron Age, when you had wrought iron, you know, and shear steel, versions thereof, bloomery steel, that kind of thing, you definitely wanted to forge anything you were making, because if you were to just cut it out of a blank sheet, then you would be cutting through the layers. It's like making something out of wood. Very much like making something out of wood. If you cut a handle, right, like a hammer handle, but it was all end grain, right? Like if you were to have a log like this, and you cut the handle out of the log sideways rather than parallel with the wood grain, then it would be incredibly weak. Wrought iron is exactly the same, because it's layers of laminated filaments, basically, because you've got lots of small individual strands of iron that have been haphazardly forged well together with bunches of silica and slag inclusions and stuff like that. If you cut through the end grain, you're guaranteeing a fraying of the wrought iron. So you need to forge that stuff in order to have the grain follow the piece, in order to improve strength. And that's a lot where the myth of like forged blades being superior comes from. It's like the old days of Sheffield and stuff, where they were using shear steel. Because in the early industrial era, there were companies that were buying sheets of shear steel and then just basically punch pressing blades out, grinding a bevel on them, and away you go. The problem with that was that they didn't really pay much attention to grain orientation or like any of the actual useful stuff. They just kind of went, throw them out the door. Who cares what grain orientation is? All good, Caitlin. And so if you imagine a sheet of wrought iron, listen, let's boop, 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 boop. Like pretty much everyone knows what wrought iron looks like, but if we've got a sheet of wrought iron, hey look, I've got a bag of chalk now. If we have a large sheet of wrought iron with grain that runs this way, right? So it's been rolled on an industrial rolling mill, and these lines are internal slag inclusions. And now, like on the side of this piece, like on the side of the sheet, you would also have slag inclusions running the same direction, right? Because slag inclusions are both in depth and in width, right? So if you were to make a knife out of this, if you were to cut a knife like that out of the piece, right? Let me make that a little bolder so you can see what I'm doing. Just broke the chalk. Right? So if this was our knife, the grain is running parallel to the knife itself, right? So this is going to be a relatively strong blade if you're just cutting it out of a bar. If you were to make a knife, however, like this, the grain is running horizontal along the blade, which means there are inclusions in that blade, like if we make the blade here, the grain is running like this, which, like, I don't know about any of you, but if I had grain running like this through a piece of wood, I put any lateral pressure on that, it's gone. And the thing is that shear steel is just wrought iron with carbon in it. It's just carburized wrought iron. So therefore, any shear steel blade made in this manner out of a sheet is going to be much inferior to a blade where the if I'd say forged that same blade shape out of wrought iron, so I have my spine, I have my handle, this is a really shit blade, I know, and I have my blade, but the wrought iron is forged, so it follows, or the shear steel is forged, so it follows the grain pattern of the piece. That is the strongest blade you're going to get out of this material, right? Yeah, they're glass, silica, glass. Slag can be like silica, but mostly, yeah, it is silica and mixtures of iron oxide and stuff like that as well. $1,900 for. Yeah, well, anyway. So yeah, like this would be the strongest way to make a like a shear steel knife. But in monomolecular steel, vacuum forged steel, and crucible steel like we use today, our blade, well, oops, I'm making this the other way around for some reason, because why not? Our blade doesn't have grain. Not grain like wood, like wrought iron or shear steel. It has individual grains. And these individual grains are bonded molecularly to each other through the atomic force, which is something like the gravitational force. Does it matter what orientation these grains are in? No, because there is no grain orientation, right? So if I forge the blade, if I cut the blade out or anything, it's still just a spotty mess. So all that we're looking for now is to make big grain like that into small grain like this. So that's why edge packing is BS, because this is important when you're working with shear steel or wrought iron, but when you come to modern steels, the grain orientation doesn't matter anymore because there isn't a grain orientation. There's no like running of the grain. It doesn't matter whether you use a roller or if you use a forging press or anything. The grain orientation doesn't change because there is no orientation. The only time that we need to worry about forging and like having things oriented properly is if we're forging something like Damascus these days. We're forging Damascus and we want the pattern to flow with our blade, which I think is important. I don't like Damascus that's kind of just cut out and ground, because the pattern doesn't follow the overall line of the forging. It doesn't follow the line of the knife. So if you're going to make Damascus, make sure you're forging the shape. But it doesn't refine the grain. It doesn't improve the thing metallurgically. All it does is provide an aesthetic advantage. It's like people getting confused about the fact that Woots is not a super steel, right? Like, Anyone who has worked with woots, made woots, seen woots, used a knife made out of it, anyone who knows that woots is far from a super steel. It was a super steel in the days where the majority of swords were made out of wrought iron and shear steel. Because wrought iron and shear steel have inclusions, and inclusions lead to weakness. You know what else leads to weakness? Massive fecking grain. And if the woots was improperly treated or improperly forged, it could be just as weak. It could shatter in a heartbeat, because like woots regularly has like 2% carbon, like ridiculously high amounts of carbon. And that's what makes it have such great edge retention and stuff like that. It's because of the carbides, the dendrites that form around the alloy. All good, Keith. Thanks, mate. Have a good one. Woots katana would cut a car in half. Hey, Aaron. It's average steel, yes. Yeah, it can't hurt the fairies. Exactly, Bryson. Like, if you're going to make a knife with wrought iron, make a samurai. But yeah, like, at the end of the day, what we use today in our modern forges and our modern steel is ridiculously better than pretty much anything they had access to, even as late as like the 1700s. It wasn't until the late industrial period during the 1800s that we saw a marked increase in the quality of steel being produced. And sure, there were small foundries and stuff like that. There were individual makers who were starting to play with it in the late 1600s. But it wasn't mass produced until probably around like 1820 or later. Post-Napoleonic. Modern steel is like so many levels superior that it's not even worth like comparing. Just the comparison itself is so idiotically needless that anyone who's convinced that they had superior steel at any point in history beyond today is laughably idiotic. Like, they are obviously so misinformed that they could never actually form a functional thought when it comes to blacksmithing, because the moment that you understand literally anything about metallurgy, you understand that the reason we don't use the materials that they used back then is not because we lost the materials were lost to time. It's purely because we came up with something better. It's like, it would be like someone arguing that, like, oh, back in the 90s, they had the best computational power ever, right? They had the best computers known to man, and everything we have today is just that little bit worse. The Commodore 64 was the ultimate in computing power. Yeah, 5160 is amazing. I mean, that would be cool, Aaron. Hey, Uncle Buck, how you going? I mean, we can agree to disagree on that one, Caleb. Yeah, Sweden and Germany were famous for their steel. Like Sweden, Germany, Spain, like Spain especially, had a massive resurgence of steel manufacture in the late 1600s, early 1700s that brought them to the top of their game for a while. Sweden was famous for its anvils, and then Germany after them. But even those companies, as the Industrial Revolution really took off, went from doing forge-welded wrought iron-bodied anvils to doing fully cast anvils, or to doing body cast anvils with the tool steel face, like cast iron anvils, or cast, not cast iron, but cast mild steel anvils with tool steel faces, because they recognized the superiority of casting. Because when you forge weld, you create a weak point. And they were like, weak points are bad. Let's not put weak points in our anvils. Like, I had someone try to argue with me that old, like, forged anvils are better than my cast 6150 Beamish anvil. And I pointed out to them that the entirety of the working surface, including the horn, is at 62 Rockwell on this anvil, right? My hammers, made out of 1045, cannot dent this for the life of me. But because of the improvements in alloy, this is incredibly hard wearing. Like, it's tough as well as hard. It's not going to shatter underneath my hammer, no matter how hard I frickin' try. And the thing is, it's not just the top plate that is hardened. The reason that these anvils are so frickin' strong is because the entire body is hardened, right? The core of this anvil is probably still soft, because obviously you can only get so much penetration of quench when quenching this kind of size of anvil. But that means you've got a soft core, hard outside, and the edges are supported by hardened material down the entire face. So you're not going to have the body trying to move while the face is moving, while the face isn't moving, and so therefore you get edge chip out, and that's why old anvils tend to lose their edges, is because the wrought iron that's underneath the tool steel face forms down as you're forging under the consistent pressure of a hammer, and then the top plate tries to deform with it, and unfortunately that top plate is hard, so therefore it just shatters. This can't do that because the sides that support the edges are hard. And I think the hardest part for me has been the fact that I love old stuff. You guys know that. I'm a history nerd. Like, ironworking history and blacksmithing history, steel making history is my jam. I love this stuff. But you can't try and convince me that the old stuff is better than the new stuff. It's just categorically not. Hey, Chaz. You just walked in on me ranting. This anvil was $1,600, Stephen. That's why you use /S after anything, Caitlin. If you're being sarcastic, /S. I mean, they're more expensive because they're more rare, because, you know. Okay, dumb question. I was reading the other day about quenching hammers, and the book mentioned pouring water on the center of the hammer face once heated. Okay, so, like, when it comes to quenching hammers, there are a couple of different ways you can do it. In industry, they normally have a fixture, and they actually put the hammerhead, like if you imagine there's like a cradle, they put the hammerhead there, and then they have 2 jets of water shooting at the hammer faces to cool them, and that, you know, guarantees that the faces become perfectly hard, but it also slows the cooling of the eye, which means that you have more strength in that portion. In like general hammer production as a blacksmith, it's unnecessary. Like it is just frankly unnecessary. I have quenched, I don't know how many hammers. I just dump them in water because at the end of the day, the whole thing can be hardened, but then the whole thing gets tempered. And if I'm really worried, like this is 1045, it's just not gonna crack. If it cracks, it's gonna crack in the quench. And if it cracks in the quench, I'm gonna cry a little bit, but that's okay. But once it's all tempered, if the eye cracks during forging, that means the faces could crack, and that means that I didn't temper it properly, or there's some really, really large grain. In a home shop, I don't think it's necessary. Like realistically, I started making hammers en masse. I might make one of those fixtures. Because it does, like, hedge your bets against things going horribly wrong with heat treatment. But in a small-scale operation like mine, it's just frankly unnecessary and a whole lot more work than it needs to be. But you should know by now, Eric, there is no such thing as a stupid question unless it's asked more than once. Swage blocks are great. Hey, Aaron. Glad you got to catch me live. Have you got the 80 kilo, Aaron, or the 40? Because, yeah, I think it was delivered. Making spoons, Zach. Making spoons. You done messed up now, AA Ron. That's it. One of you is now AA Ron, and the other one's Aaron. Whew. Okay. Spoons. It's just fun to say. Exactly. Only one can be AA Ron. Wait, there's 3 Aarons. Damn it. Hello, Joel. Plutonium? Now, you know what's really fun to say? Is literally anything with O-N-E at the end pronounced the same as minestrone, like testosterone. Like, my friend's been on tea for a while, and they're just kind of like, hey, gotta take my anti-titty Skittles. My testosterone. Antihistamines. I have used my cube a number of times. Testosterone minestrone. What question have I? What question did I say there's no stupid questions to? How is Bar on Forge? Fair enough. I mean, if you guys ever get the chance to go to like a live viewing of The Room, I highly suggest you do it because it's freaking hilarious. I went to one once, and they handed out plastic spoons at the beginning of the showing because. For those of you who don't know, The Room is considered like one of the best, worst movies ever made. And when Tommy Wiseau was financing the movie, he bought like picture frames to fill out the back shots of his movie, and he just left the stock photos in there, and all of the stock photos are of spoons. And so every time one of the stock photos would show up in scene, we would throw plastic spoons at the screen. It was a great time. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. Abalone, yeah. That's not a stupid question. That's just a stupid statement, Stephen. That's not a question. Oh, man, Rocky Horror Picture Show was my childhood, man. Come on. Tim Curry is an absolute legend. It's a British show. Like, it's a British movie. Why would we not? I mean, like, Tim Curry as Frank-N-Furter was my gay awakening. Like, come on. Janet, yeah, but the thing is, we're a British protectorate. Well, Wayne, that's not a stupid question. The concept of a blood group is a stupid concept. You weren't asking me to do it, you told me to do it. It's a statement, not a question, Stephen. Damn it, Janet. Yeah, no, like pretty much anything that's famous in Britain is famous in Australia, or was. Excellent, Ben. Scrapers are way underrated. And like in answer to whether or not you should forge or grind the fuller, which is what a blood group should be called, my opinion is that you should do whatever best suits the build. For instance, I didn't really forge the fuller on the Damascus Viking sword that I'm making. I forged in some laddering fuller marks. I made a custom tool to do that, funnily enough. But I actually ground the fuller in because I'm trying to cut into the Damascus pattern. Whereas if you wanted to, like increase the width of your billet or increase the width of your sword without having to unnecessarily use a lot more material, then you could fuller the blade to get a wider blade. I mean, David Bowie, yeah. Bowie was bi icon. If you want to talk about true gay icon, then you've got to talk about Freddie Mercury. I mean, come on. Iconic. Really liking this little loop detail on these. Just gives me the fizz. Ooh, Barracuda. Right. Need to give it a bit of a twist though, because it's not currently sitting right. I mean, Bowie wasn't really my type, but yeah, definitely a bi icon. I mean, this is true. He did say in an interview that he wasn't like fully gay. So it's true, he was a bi icon as well. My forebears. Yes, it may surprise you to know that Freddie Mercury wasn't entirely gay. He just loved people. I reckon today he'd probably self-identify as pansexual. I think that would have fitted his persona a little bit better. I use bi interchangeably. with pan. I know some people don't like that, but it's what I grew up with, which is a terrible excuse. Because I am hardly trans-exclusionary. Just making it worse. There is a time you just need to, like, call it quits, Sam. It looks fine. It's fine. Shh, it's fine. All right, so that's all the spoons I really wanted to forge. Or do I want to forge like one more spoon? How much time do I have? I mean, oh, interesting conversations on my stock and trade, mate. I've got about like 30 minutes left. I mean, pansexual is a bit one of those interesting things. Like, it's because it's part of like the neo movement. Like, it's a little bit difficult to really take a strong stance on it. Like when I say I'm bi, like I'm more like the binary in that sense is my gender and every other gender, rather than like, you know, men and women. But right, making some knives, making a kniff, a kniff. I think I might go the old school route and like make some file knives. Oh god, file knives. Ew. There's a little baby one. That'll work. Make one of those little desk knives. Oh, nice, Steve. Glad you liked it. Whew. Well, that's exactly right, Caitlin. So they're coming to take me away. Oh, really, Aaron? I'm surprised by that, because Jason's work is par excellence. It's a little Wiltshire escapement file. Will be just fine for a little desk knife slash something. I don't know. I wonder if I have a little chunk of burl or something I can put it in. Mother McCall. I don't know what my theme song would be. Probably like ooh ee ooh ah ting tang walla walla bing bang. Ooh ee ooh ah ting tang walla walla bing bang. Forging material this thin is always a bit of a challenge, I will admit. Trying to stop it from cupping rather than forging properly. Baby shark, doo 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 doo. McNamara, yeah. Oh, nice. I'm glad to hear that. That actually makes me happy. Phenomena. Ba-ba-ba-da-ba. Phenomena. Ba-ba-da-ba. No, mine's probably like Complicated by Avril Lavigne. Nice, Aaron B. Joker and the Thief. I mean, hey, there's worse. No, actually, I know exactly what mine would be. Mine would be Ain't No Rest for the Wicked by Cage the Elephant. Absolute banger of a song. Also perfectly describes my life some days. Do some Bladesmith magic, get some heat going. Can't forge file steel when it's cold. Yeah, you can. As long as you don't let it be cold. Honestly, that's where I first heard it, Aaron Finn. Ironic. Most ironic, nice. The most ironic thing about that song is that literally nothing in that song is ironic. Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? That song upsets me on so many levels. That song should be rewritten and called Inconvenient. Because, like, rain on your wedding day is not ironic. It's just inconvenient. A free ride when you've already paid? Inconvenient. I use my squints. My safety squints. Yeah, Aaron, having a grinder is handy. So I feel for you on that one. Probably should have grabbed a little bit more material. Might have to move that shoulder forward a little bit. It's fine. You can do that. It's hard to judge with material this small. That's what she said. Yeah, well, with the new Postbox Forge design, she is quite quiet. She's a little baby. Wow, that was uncomfortable. Nice, Aaron. I get about 8 hours of forging. So what are you getting, Aaron? Are you getting like the Shotmaster 72? That would be my next grinder, I think. Either that or a Wilmot Tag, but for the price, for the both, the Shotmaster's the better buy, to be honest. Whew. It's warm. It's only warm because I'm running a forge. Today is actually pleasantly cool. That'll do. Time to round her out. I'm not going to put a decorative twist in this one, I don't think. I'm just going to round the whole lot. Oh, the ARJ. Nice. I'm the wrong person to ask there, Ben. Me and Jason don't talk that often. A kniff. It is a kniff. G'day, Albin. I'm making a little kniff at the moment. I haven't actually seen much on the ARJ grinders. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts, Aaron. Yeah, making a little desk kniff. Desk kniff. Don't know why every stream these days has me affecting a stutter for some reason. Yesterday it was bant for assaulting male indeed, or sharpening pencils. Honestly, being able to tilt your grinder is amazing. My fire ant has that ability. This is game-changing for grinding recurves. When I was doing my the karambit, I used a small wheel attachment with this, and I was grinding like this. Funnily enough, ZJB, Zane Birch, he uses a, not a tilt grinder, but literally a horizontal belt grinder, the belt sander that's made for wood. And I think it has like a 4-inch contact wheel, and that's why all of his plunge grinds have that really like deep curve to them, is because he uses a horizontal contact wheel for all of his plunge cuts, which is insane. Getting those to align properly. It's a massive pain in the ass, especially when, like, it's not too hard when you've got a small radius, but a large radius, it's painful. Awesome, Aaron. B. OBM grinder, yeah. Well, I would get an OBM, but they're in Oregon. I have an OBM small wheel attachment. Cost me about as much for the attachment as it did to get it shipped here. And I had to make a tooling arm for it. I'm happy with my fire ant until she dies, which she shouldn't do anytime soon. Built like a tank. Jake's presses, yeah. Really, Alpin? Absolutely smashed it? Awesome. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a wombat press, to be honest. But, yeah, not on the cards for me. Not for a while. I don't know if you're coming up Sunday, Alpin. I don't know if the group has been contacted for the Guildford Medieval Fair. But if you're there, come say hi. I'll be demoing. I'll be doing my demo thing. Probably making another one of these at some point. Because it's what I do at demos. I make stuff. Before unheard of. Sam Towns making things. I am shocked, appalled. Oh, you have a wedding Saturday. Fair enough. Ah, the South AGM, that's right. It's on the same day. That's why I can't make it. See you, Steve. Just snapped it in the middle. Crazy. Very nice. That's what I like to hear. We are a results-oriented company here at Sam Towns Incorporated. Now it's like, Sam, why don't you forge the blade out? Oh, I kind of want to keep the file teeth. So I'm going to stock remove this blade. I know, you're all thoroughly disappointed with me, I understand. Feel free to leave a terrible Yelp review. How dare I? Oh, that sucks, Aaron. Hammer maker extraordinaire. Well, I hope you do, Zach. If you don't, I'll be really sad. Well, Stephen, I mean, hate is a really strong emotion. It's right next door to love. So I understand it. You can admit that you love me. Ben does it all the time. Wow, I really messed that up. I was trying to be clever and then realized it had no weight, so it couldn't bend itself. Well, you know, sometimes vegan knife making is useful, and all of us are stock removalists in the end. Doesn't matter whether you do it with a file, with a grinder, an angle grinder. We all have to remove stock at some point. Some people are just ahead of the curve. Oh, that's like the ugliest handle I've ever made. Cool. I am going to fix that. Exactly, Aaron. I use doghead hammers all the time, Aaron B. They are amazing for blade forging. So it really depends on your style. I never never mind. I never recommend any hammer over any other hammer, purely because it is very much a personal taste. I just fucked that up. Right. Never mind. It's fine. It's fine. Just waste a half hour. But yeah, I recommend trying it. Trying a doghead, it's a good idea. Anywho, well, I don't have enough time to start another project, and yeah, that one's ruined, so never mind. It's all good. Shit happens. I do actually have two hammers that I want to finish before the show this weekend that will probably end up being available on my Etsy store, because I doubt they'll sell at the show, but they're both the Viking crossbeams, both 3-pounders. They are heat treated. They're just waiting for final polish and grind, and then on to handling. But yeah, for most blades, stock removal is part of the process. For kitchen knives especially. kitchen knives are incredibly handy for stock removal. The other thing that I found really useful in stock removal is HEMA blades. Good luck forging one of these accurate enough to have them flex properly. Right? Like, I teach HEMA, and these things are not allowed to break when you're using them. And so therefore forging them is actually counterproductive. The other thing is that when they come annealed from the factory, they normally have a relatively fine grain structure. So therefore cutting this out and grinding it is way better than forging it, and it takes a lot less time. So I will continue to stock remove all of my HEMA blades. I mean, I hate grinding too. I absolutely friggin' abhor grinding, but in some cases it is much better than forging. I have forged one HEMA blade, and I still had to spend like 2 hours stock removing it to get it right, because at the end of the day, that stock has to be removed somehow. Like, I have a HEMA blade right here. This is one of my cutlass blades, and it is currently heat treated at just a tapered piece of bar stock. Like, it's 6 mil the whole way along, right? It has its natural taper, so the taper from the guard point down to the tip, but it is, as it stands, completely straight. Yeah, but I see people like Stephen, the argument could be made that bladesmiths do that as well. I've seen some bladesmiths who make some absolutely gut-wrenchingly horrible knives. Like they do the bare minimum of grinding, and I understand they hate grinding, but they do the bare minimum of grinding on a blade that really needs it. And they forge shapes that are just completely either unusable or really ugly. So, yeah, when it comes to certain things, stock removal is necessary. And you want that flex. And I mean, like, if you want to look at like one of the world's most famous stock removalists, look no further than Kyle Royer. Kyle doesn't do a lot of forging. Kyle prefers to forge, because he's working in Mosaic Damascus, he can't forge it too much. He can't forge it aggressively. He doesn't even forge the bevels on most of his knives. He and I have discussed a number of times about how he's jealous of the fact that I can forge close to dimension because I'm not using the kind of Damascus that he regularly uses. So most of the time, he literally just has a bar of steel. He forges the ricasso in and maybe like forges a little bit of the tip in if he wants that like pattern to flow, but that's it. Like, he then stock removes the rest of it. And he is one of the world's most famous, and for a good reason, one of the world's most famous and respected knife makers. So yeah, I don't have an issue with stock removal at all. And as we discussed earlier in the stream, metallurgically speaking, there is no difference. Like, forging does not provide you any metallurgical advantage, other than the fact that you can take a piece of material that is not the shape that you need it and make it into the shape that you need it. You can turn a ball bearing into a kitchen knife, but you can't do that with stock removal. That's where the main bladesmithing advantage comes. So yeah, like I think the argument is kind of moot to a certain degree. I think that I judge the person on the quality of the stuff that they make rather than the way that they make it, right? Because I know stock removalist knife makers like Cole Barrett from Blue Mountain Toolworks, who used to work for Gamaco, who is one of the best knife makers I know. And he only does stock removal, right? Like, I've never seen Cole pick up a hammer in his life, but I still recognize him as one of the best knife makers in Australia because he makes some killer cutlery. And there's a kid named DeFazio Knives. He's 17, right? And he makes the most ridiculously clean work. Again, stock removalist. One of my inspirations of the week from the Forgecast a while back was crap. Why can I not remember his name? It's like a German name. Damn it. Anyway, I've been a massive fan of him for ever. And I don't know why I can't remember his freaking name right now, and it's really irritating me. But anyway, now, don't get me wrong, I love bladesmithing. I am a bladesmith. I forge stuff. I love forging stuff, and I always will forge stuff because forging stuff is what I love to do. But I am never going to judge the quality of a maker by the methods that they use, only by the quality of the stuff that they make. Right? Like if you're a bladesmith and you're making like subpar, sub-quality work, like if you're not putting the effort into making good knives that are usable, comfortable, beautiful, and efficient, effective, they're actually, to the best of your ability made to work, then you don't have as much of respect as a stock removalist who puts in the absolute best that they can to get the best heat treat that they can out of their knife. They get a really nice design, they do really good handle work. So yeah, at the end of the day, that is my feelings on stock removal versus bladesmithing. And I've done a lot of stock removal. Niels Vandenberg, who is, as most of you will know, an absolute badass and an amazing bladesmith. Like, he can forge knives like no one else. But he did an entire year of stock removal because he needed to train his hands to grind properly. And all of the daggers that he makes, they're all stock removed, right? Like he might forge the Damascus that he then like cuts the knife out of, but he stock removes like 90% of his daggers because he needs them to be stupidly accurate. He needs them to be really, really within those parameters that he's looking for. He's a mastersmith. So at the end of the day, you get there how you get there, but it's not the tool that makes the smith. It's the smith that makes it's the smith that makes the quality work. It's the quality work that makes the smith. And like, people talk about machinists. I've seen machinists who can't make stuff for crap, right? Like, you can give someone a mill, a lathe, like a CNC machine, all that kind of stuff, but if they don't know how to program it properly and they have no artistic integrity and no ability to design stuff, they're going to make crap work, right? Like, they're not gonna come away from the mill with perfectly flat surfaces, perfectly square surfaces and stuff like that if they haven't taken the time to set up their mill properly and set it like, and tram it in and get everything set properly, use the right cutters, use the right cutting speed. And so if you gave me a mill right now, I would not be able to make anything that looked half decent for like a good 3 months before I actually got the hang of it. And even then, the stuff that I came out with would be basically rudimentary, right, as far as machining goes. So yeah, I don't disrespect machinists for being machinists. If a machinist can make awesome stuff, then cool. I have no issue. Like Jake at Fireball Tool, the guys over at Fireball who make vices and all kinds of stuff. Amazing work. I love their vices. I want one of their vices. But yeah, again, I respect the maker for what they make, not for what material or what methods they use. Like, if people only respected me as a sword maker, if I only forged swords, then yeah, they wouldn't respect me as a HEMA sword maker because all of my HEMA swords have been stock removed. So on that note, here is my first sword. The first sword that I made like 5 years ago. The first sword that I forged, and I scraped the fuller in with a Walther Sorrel style fuller scraper. It is still in its normalized state, like it's not actually hardened yet. I will harden this one day. But yeah, so what can I say? So it depends on the sword, but most of my HEMA swords are SUP 9 or a 5160 equivalent. So that's what these are. This is SUP 9. They're a little softer than the ADC RV2 swords, but they're also a little springier. The ADC RV2 is very rigid. Yeah, Lauren, but that's down to you personally. There are people who use machines to make knives who make absolutely stunning stuff, and you can tell that they've put their soul into it, even if it's coming off a machine. But yeah, so SUP 9, 5160. It's a little softer, so it does take a little bit of edge damage. but it is a little springier. Although I'm still testing like cross sectionals with the ADCRV2. ADCRV2 is amazing. Like I made a blade for myself out of ADCRV2. It was the first sword that I forged, like HEMA sword the only HEMA sword that I forged out of ADCRV2, and it has not taken a dent yet. Like it is fucking hard. Like it's 58, 59 Rockwell, but it flexes really well. But the problem is that cross-sectionally, it's very, very fine at the point, like behind the point. And the one thing I'm worried about is if it does snap in that area, it becomes a straight up rapier. So I'm trying to meet the even balance. That being said, like on my side sword blade, so this is a Darkwood side sword blade, like that is the tip cross section. Like it's incredibly fine, but it's got some good flex. This is designed to have either a metal cap or one of those like blunts, the rubber blunts put over the top, for thrusting. But yeah, so. But yes, so those are my thoughts on stock removal versus forging. I have more work to do, but I need to go to school run. Yeah, 2 more hammers to make, 3-pounders. I'll probably do the handle work on them this afternoon instead of firing the forge again, because I only have 1 day left because I can't work here on Saturday. No, Darkwood doesn't roll or spatulate their tips because they're designed for like HEMA. They're designed for the rubber blunts that they sell. The one thing that I've done on other Darkwood blades, like this one is I haven't worked on a bit. What I really like to do is take a 38 special shell casing and crimp it on the end, so you get the 38 end, the 38 shell casing end, which makes a nice contact point for it. You just cut the 38 shell in half. I hate rolling. I hate rolled tips. The problem with rolled tips is that they become melon ballers, and they're also more easy to shear off. Yeah, no, I fought against a rolled tip a while back, and yeah, no, it hurt. It hurt bad. So on my HEMA blades, it is 6 millimeters thick. So it's the standard, like it's the width thickness of the original thing, and it is 12 millimeters wide. So it's quite a large surface area. Like it's not gonna kill you if it hits you. Obviously, armor is important, and wearing like stab protective vests and stuff like that is incredibly important. But that's my standard tip on all of my swords. It's what I try for on all of my swords, at least. I have had one go through a Hawberk recently. It didn't go through, it went under, because someone was wearing a Bevor. Someone was wearing a leather Bevor, but it was like scaled leather, and it went under the leather and up, and it actually hit the shirt and went through the shirt and out through the back of the shirt, because it hit his shoulder, but it skated off the skin, fortunately. But this is why you wear proper protective gear when you're fighting. Because even professionally made blades, even blades made by me, can snap in fights. And if they snap, then you get that cross section. And that cross section can be real sharp. Dropping my microphone. Sorry about that. I'm sure that was an auditory nightmare. So anyway, time for me to pack it in. Thank you very much for hanging out. You fought right here in a t-shirt. Okay, you have. I wouldn't recommend it. I haven't fought in t-shirts. Like I train in t-shirt and shorts, because when you're training, you're not sparring. Like if you're not actually sparring and hitting each other, then whatever, train in whatever you want. But if you're actually going to go full force against the people, wear proper protective gear, because goddamn, it's scary. The one thing that scares me is like the amount of people who don't have throat protection. Because you get a point in the throat, I don't care like what size the point is, like even if it's mine, like you're gonna die. So be safe out there. I mean, at least you had a mask, gloves, and gorget on. All right, guys, thank you very much for hanging out. I appreciate it. I will probably catch you tomorrow for another live stream in the morning, hopefully. I'll try for it, and maybe I'll post some stuff from the Sunday place on Instagram and stuff like that if you're interested in seeing it. So hopefully I'll see you there. Bye, guys.